Again? What am I doing wrong? What do I have to do? That's not, I don't like that. Like, I know they wanted to make the last fight challenging and stuff, but I don't understand, like, literally don't understand what I'm doing.
So if at first you don't succeed in the battle, remember that Ifrit's strength is relative to Clive's strength,
level progression,
and that includes
skill
weapon and
progression,
gear as
and
well.
then just making it stupid. I don't,
you don't succeed,
how
power
many
up,
more
level
attacks
up,
can I do,
and try again.
bro? How many more attacks can I do? I don't understand.
A few moments
But this time,
later.
before you go into the Rising Tide, you might want to brush up your Ifrit abilities and make sure you know and are familiar with all of the different actions.
Yo, what's going on? How's everyone doing today? Anthony's Gaming Show. I hope you guys are excited for a Final Fantasy XVI Rising Tide DLC review. Let's go over how the story was implemented, talk about the side quests, new gear you can get, how the gameplay worked with the new updates and new icon powers, also the Chronos Gate. Let's take a look inside the gaming show and see what we can find. First off, the story for the Rising Tide, I believe, was amazing. It was a great standalone story that was able to be told and contained in one setting. The way they explained why Leviathan was missing and how the people were not found was amazing to me. I don't want to go into any spoilers in this review, but if you guys do want to know about exactly what happens in the story, please do subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for the notifications because I will be creating a full story synopsis talking about how everything coexists and connects to the previous DLC and the story as a whole. We did not get a new ending to the Final Fantasy XVI, but I think the original ending is perfectly fine and that the Rising Tide story in itself is very well contained. It adds a lot of lore that we were missing, so I really give it a lot of points for that, and it does a really good job exploring everything. Not only the main story, but also the story that you get from doing all the side quests really did develop each character. Talking about the side quests, I really enjoyed how they were woven into the gameplay. I believe they were always occurring at a good stopping point and segment inside the game that I never really felt abrupt. There were 5 side quests in the main story before beating the final boss, and then 5 more after, one only being tamed after doing every side quest. I felt like the total 10 side quests that we get on top of the main MSQ of this DLC was really amazing. So much for us to do inside of this area they created compared to the first DLC where we pretty much just went to one dungeon, beat the boss Omega, and that was pretty much it. This time the Rising Tide really took us to a whole new area that we got to explore, gave us so much more story and all of these different side quests for us to do. It really fleshed out the story and gave us some really cool new enemies to fight also, and I really felt satisfied from defeating and completing each side quest. To me, honestly, like that's the most important thing, is the satisfaction of finishing these side quests and seeing the stories conclude with each character. There's some things between the characters from the first DLC and the second DLC, and to run through all the quests, you learn a lot more about the Leviathan Dominant, and I just think that they did a really good job wrapping it all up. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the cool new gear that you'll be able to get for Clyde in the new expansion. The developers went through a great length to create all kinds of cool new gear for us to get. I'm really excited because I haven't played Final Fantasy mode, and to play the game over again with all these new weapons and equipment is going to be a lot of. First up, we get 4 new swords, 2 belts, 2 van brace, and 22 accessories. You are going to be able to obtain most of these items through the normal gameplay as well as completing every single quest. Some gear will require you to go out and find items in order to craft the necessary stuff, but that just makes it more things for you to go have to do inside the DLC. There's also a whole bunch of accessories that you get from completing the Chronos Gate. So you definitely want to make sure you guys go through all of that in normal mode before you start Final Fantasy mode. Now let's go ahead and talk about the gameplay and the new icon powers. There may be a little bit of spoilers here, so if you're not completely beating the game and don't want to know the second icon power, there will be a timestamp so you can go ahead and skip ahead to the next part. That way you don't get spoiled. But starting off first with Leviathan's power, I really like how Serpent's Cry changed Clyde's arm into Leviathan's head. Not only did it look aesthetically pleasing, but I really liked how cool it was having the different ability to shoot a little bit further away, giving us more distance attacking for Clyde. The precision strikes were really considered with the DLC, I believe, too. Most of the enemies seem to be tailored toward wanting distance and being able to hit them with the shots and abilities Leviathan had, which I quite enjoyed, especially since this was the new ability that we get. You can really tell how much effort they put into implementing these attacks with these enemies in mind. One of the abilities we get is Tidal Torrent, where we get to, by pressing square, hitting multiple bursts of water, hitting back the smaller enemies out of Leviathans. You can also use your triangle button to use one of your other ability, Tidal Stream, being able to shoot a wave of water, hitting people at a melee distance. The really thing I love the most was the new ability Roll, which makes it a lot easier to dodge, kind of giving you a double dodge ability to move around the battlefield a lot easier, hitting those precision dodges off the enemy attacks. By using all these abilities, you'll be able to use your tidal gauge over time and it will run out. You can go ahead and refill these tidal gauge a lot quicker at any time by pressing O, where a giant circle will show up and a smaller one will come slowly down. If implemented in the right timing and you hit your circle inside the gray zone, you will be able to get infinite power of your tidal, being able to use all your abilities for a limited time. Some of the abilities that we were able to get from Leviathan's skill tree are Deluge. This one's a really nice attack because it hits a bunch of small rapid fire distance water shots, hitting the smaller enemies back. You also have the Cross Swell, which I really liked because you can bring all of the smaller enemies into one central point in front of Clyde, so it's a real nice AoE attack. The Abyssal Tear was really cool, having a little teardrop appear above you, growing from the size of 1 to 3. Doing different precision dodges will increase the growth speed, and when it's to its largest power, you're able to shoot the water, having it hit multiple enemies with multiple bursts, knocking smaller enemies down again, and even bringing down the flying enemies or interrupting spells. Tsunami is Leviathan's special power-up attack. I really like this because it conjures an entire wave, just knocking all the enemies repeatedly into a small area, which is a really powerful attack. Now for the spoiler, if you guys haven't already done this part, by the end of the Rising Tide, when you beat the main story, you get access to a new area in the Aetheryte Stone, activating a cool little cutscene. This is where we see Clive get the mysterious power from the screenshot we were talking about in our other videos. At first, I thought Clive was going to hit this new power by beating Ultima after we attained all 8 Leviathan powers and became whole. But since there was no new ending, this kind of gives us that same area, having us get Ultima's power after beating the entire DLC. Comment down below, you guys, but I don't really remember any promotional material ever of them talking about us getting 2 icon powers, let alone being Ultima's power itself. I just thought that picture was going to be like part of a cutscene fight where we were able to use some of Ultima's powers perhaps in the final battle, but to have all of Ultima's power in Clive feels a little broken at times, especially when you max them out. Like I said before, I haven't played Final Fantasy mode yet, but to go through the hard mode with this kind of power, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. So let's go ahead and talk about the different powers that we get with this. Ultima's power is added to the very top of our skill tree, giving Clyde a neutral element to his magic spells. By using the triangle button, you are able to use Rampant Ruin, which shoots out a bunch of different bursts of magic towards your enemies. When the power is activated, Autumn Feet Ascension will allow Clive to levitate from the ground and transform our normal square attack from slashes to being able to hit multiple enemies at once with our gigantic wing. We are also able to jump in the air and get even further by hitting the button more. By dodging, you are able to instantly teleport, which I think makes this even stronger than Leviathan's dodge. Voice of God is one of the powers that you will be able to unlock, having a giant ray of light come out from the sky, hitting the enemies multiple times. Can be used while in midair. I don't particularly like this one because I don't feel like it really does that much if you use it because it takes so long, like especially during a stagger. So let me know how you guys use it. We also have Proselyte, which has us bring forth Ultima's giant wings, smashing a wave, dealing damage to all enemies in its path, and can be used in midair. Dominion was a really cool one I like because it has all of the different ether things shoot up from the ground from 8 different blades from the different icons, doing a giant AoE attack, hitting everyone in the area. Ultima's final attack, Ultimate Demise, draws in all the smaller enemies and then hits them all at once with the overwhelming burst of giant ether power, which I think is really cool. Finally, let's talk about the Chronos Gate. I hope I'm saying that right. I have not yet actually beat it as of writing this review. Just haven't really had much time to play it, you guys, but I will be live streaming here on the channel when I do, so make sure you have those notifications on so that way you can come stop by, say hi. It's going to be a lot of fun going through the different levels, trying to figure out the best way to use our points and the best ability combos to get the most damage done. I can already see a bunch of people doing great online with these leaderboards, so it's going to be crazy to see what we can do. But that's the thing that impresses me the most, you guys, is the fact that I've already put 12 hours of gameplay into the Rising Tide, whether that be from a lot of losing, but I just think it's crazy that this much was added into the game. And that's about it. That's the review on the Rising Tide, you guys. I don't really know what else to say. I really love Final Fantasy 16 as a Final Fantasy game. It's dark tone, the characters were amazing, the music's just out of this world, and the gameplay was a lot of fun for me. It's not just about smashing X, you guys. If you really know how to do the different combos, you can pull off some really amazing attacks and do incredible damage. And I really think the Rising Tide on its own was really worth the money. So if you guys haven't already got it, I really recommend doing so. Go ahead and get the combo pack so you get both DLCs, so you can get all of the goodies added inside. Please do subscribe to the channel so you guys know I'll be making another video, like I said, going over the entire story of what happened to the new characters and how they're connected to the old characters and so much more. I really do appreciate you guys. If you stayed this long, that means you've enjoyed the video, so please do like. It really helps out with the channel, and please do watch one of these other videos to help out. If you guys want to check out this one, it's really cool. Me unboxing the poster collection of Final Fantasy 16, looking at some beautiful artwork, or this other video that the algorithm thinks works best for you. But until the next time, y'all have a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. Y'all have a shell-tastic day. This has been Anthony's Gaming Show. Until the next time, bye-bye.